Showtime.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
We are professional wrestling.
I'm building an alliance.
You are tuned into
the absolute top of the mountain, the ultimate professional wrestling.
Alliance-wrestling.com.
What is up, everyone? It is the pre-party. Woo! A presentation of Alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal, and we're here every Tuesday to get you pumped up for power, to get you pumped up for the NWA. We're here to talk all things NWA, and there's so much to talk about. If you guys haven't heard, we have a new World's Heavyweight Champion. If you haven't heard, we have a new National Champion. If you haven't heard, Cody Rhodes is no longer with AEW. If you haven't heard, we've got so much going on in the NWA. It is a great time to be a fan. It's a great time to be excited because there's so much fun stuff that's happening. I see my friends Bobby is in the house. I see Fiona's here. If you're here, say hi. Join the chat. That's what it's all about. We do look to you guys for comments. We share them on the screen. If this is your first time being here, don't be afraid to say hello. This is a welcoming community. This is that hashtag NWA fam. And we're here to boost each other up, to talk NWA, and to have a good time. I'm glad you guys are here. I see Sean Mega's here. So we have two matches already announced for the Crockett Cup. That's, first of all, wow. Second of all, two matches already set up for the Crockett Cup, meaning the World's Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. We know the Junior Heavyweight, Junior Heavyweight Championship will be determined at the Crockett Cup. And a lot more is coming, a lot more. Oh, I see more folks here in the house. I got Rosville here. Lamb's in the house. Michael Manning. Michael, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Sean Mega says, is DKM okay after this weekend? I'm going to tell you, man, he's not happy. But, you know what? I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. I really think, and I know it sounds crazy, but this was a good move for the NWA. I know it sounds crazy because, you know, your boy J. Cal hasn't always been the biggest fan of, hot shots for the title. I haven't been the biggest fan of, just bringing in a former WWE guy to give them an opportunity. But this guy, and this guy being Matt Cardona. I mean, he is getting a lot of buzz circulating around the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, I'm not saying that the NWA, by any stretch of the imagination, has been dead, but it certainly lost a lot of luster following the pandemic pause. Now, we're still going through COVID-19 protocols in this country and in this state where I live in California. I mean, there's still mask mandates. There's still 6 feet, social distancing and all of that stuff. But the pandemic pause really slowed things down for the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm sorry if I seem a little distracted here. It really did slow things down for the NWA, and they lost a lot of that forward momentum, a lot of the goodwill that they built off that 10 Pounds of Gold series from 2017, 2018, with Dave Lagana, with Nick Aldis, with Tim Storm, and the story that they told there. And that momentum followed through the original tapings of the Power TV show back in Atlanta in the early October, late September tapings that they did back then. And it really had an impact on the business that the NWA was trying to do. More so than that, it killed all that forward momentum. So now that the NWA is trying to get back into the swing of things, they came back last year when Our Shadows Fall. Back for the Attack, was the first show back. Then they started on the regular TV tapings. They started doing more pay-per-views again. They had a lot of momentum after Empower and the 73rd anniversary, and then kind of slowed down again. And I don't want to specifically blame Trevor Murdoch, because I'll be honest with you, I think Trevor Murdoch got done dirty in this whole thing. I think Trevor Murdoch was not given an opportunity to succeed. I don't know if that's Trevor's fault. I don't know if that's the NWA's fault, but the guy did not get anywhere out there like some of his contemporaries. Nick Aldis, when he was world champion, when he first won the title, was able to travel the world with it. Now, obviously, because of COVID, that wasn't going to happen, but you didn't see Trevor Murdoch defend that title anywhere but in NWA affiliated shows, or that one SCIW show with Attila Khan. So Trevor never had that fair shake. I don't think they didn't line up any real top tier opponents for him within the NWA. The closest we got was to Jax Dane. They brought in Mike Knox to kind of create some sort of buzz or storyline that did almost nothing, right? And then you bring in somebody with the magnitude of Matt Cardona, who's literally probably the hottest free agent in pro wrestling right now, or very close to it. And the whole internet world is looking at what the NWA is doing. You got people, he's trending on Twitter. You got people talking about the NWA who haven't talked about the NWA in quite some time. And I really feel like you're seeing the change of the guard was more than just Trevor Murdoch losing the title. I think you're seeing the NWA head in a new direction. And for me, I think that's a very, very promising thing. Now, I do hope to see more of Trevor Murdoch down the road. But who knows? Who knows where his head is at, where he wants to be? We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Now, Bobby Batito says that Kerry Morton has been impressive on the NWA USA. Sure, man. Yeah, he's a third-generation wrestler. He better be impressive. If he wasn't, what's he doing? Lamb says Cardona already makes the title international again after it being only in a national for the last 2 years. The title's now in France. Yes, but it doesn't count unless it's being showcased in some sort of wrestling match. It doesn't even necessarily need to be defended. But if he was in the ring, if he was wrestling, the world wrestling champion from France, then that would have a lot of weight with it. But, just touring around, Paris Disney or whatever it's called, I don't think is quite the thing. Sean Mega echoes the sentiment for Kerry Morton. He's a good young babyface. It's a smart move for the NWA to kind of keep these young dudes in line. And I don't mean in line, but I mean having them on the roster because they're young. And as the brand continues to grow, these are going to be the future of the NWA. The NWA can't compete with the WWE and AEW when it comes to signing big name free agents, but where they have the edge is being able to sign younger talent and kind of mold them in the image that they want. Now, I know Kerry Morton isn't necessarily signed, nor is Colby Corino or PJ Hawks. I believe these guys are able to work just about anywhere. However, having these guys as the crux of the future of the NWA, I think, is very, very important. Michael Manning says, it's too late for me on Tuesdays, brother. I've got to watch on Wednesdays. Been loving NWA anyway. Well, Michael, however you watch it, whether it's live with us on Tuesdays or if it's tomorrow morning on Wednesdays, I do appreciate you being here. I do appreciate you checking us out. We're still doing the whole damn thing on Tuesdays and doing it on Thursdays as well. So I do appreciate you being here. Chris Drummond is riding on cloud 9 right now with the congrats to the savior of the NWA. Of course, Chris. Of course I knew that's where you were going to go with this. But, look, the cool thing that I feel very happy for you, Chris, is that that's a change in the guard that you wanted to see. And the thing about it is the NWA could have pulled this out, right? They could have not pulled it out. That's not the right expression. They could have stretched this out. They pushed that power trip match, and that matchup was the last one to be announced. Well, I guess second to last. We didn't know that was going to be a title match until the week before the Premier Live event. So now that they have that in the books, I mean, if they would have held on to that, they could have held onto that match till Crockett Cup, right? They could have had Cardona versus Murdoch and not pull the trigger on the title change and saved it for Crockett Cup. But the fact that they did it at this Premier Live event in Oak Grove, Kentucky, I mean, that does a couple of things, right? It gives the NWA the appeal that, you know what, you need to be at these Premier Live events to see these things happen, to see the titles change. Anything can happen in the NWA. Yes, I know that's an old WWE joke, but I mean, to get more live attendance, you want to have things like this happen. So I mean, you have to celebrate the fact that not only did Cardona help bring a bigger crowd to that show, and I don't know if they were all there to see Cardona, but we talked about this on Thursday night before that match was made. There was like over 239 tickets still available. And after the announcement, there was less than 20. And by the time the show started, it sold out. So, I mean, maybe you don't give all of the credit to Monsieur Cardona, but he certainly has to get some of it. He's certainly deserving of some. It's just there's no other way. There's no other way to say it. Lamb says, to be fair, Aldis had to do that in his first run. Otherwise, nobody would have give an F if Aldis didn't have his great crusade. Lamb, you are correct in some regards, right? Because we know that Aldis's first reign as champion, there was a lot of people talking about it because Billy Corgan had just purchased the NWA. It was already generating buzz. You had Billy and, to a lesser extent, Dave Lagana talking about a 20-year plan. Where the NWA extremely benefited from not only Nick Aldis, but in his touring schedule. Going to China was a big deal. That was certainly a feather in the cap for the world's heavyweight champion, Nick Aldis. But that ended up being like the third biggest event of his 2018, right? Because then he went to All In. And I think that's really where the fan interest started to percolate. I think that's really when people started to pay attention because, going to China was a huge deal, but I mean, how does that impact a wrestling fan in Florida or Texas? It wasn't like they were going to that event. So the fact when it was announced for Cody and Aldis for that World's Heavyweight Championship, I really feel like that's when the steam started coming for the NWA and the videos with the Elite, the 10 pounds of gold. I mean, it was firing on all cylinders. You had promotion from both what would become AEW, but also the promotion from the NWA, the promotion from Ring of Honor. I mean, there was a lot of things building up this match. And I think that's what really triggered the NWA so much quicker into landing its first pay-per-view, which was the 70th anniversary show that got them their first television show, Power on Fight, and it pushed them to the Crockett Cup. It really helped things move forward for the NWA. So yeah, you're right, Lamb. Aldis had to go out there and make a statement, but honestly, so did Trevor Murdoch, and that statement wasn't made. And again, I don't know if that was by design. I don't know if that was the NWA telling him to sit back, or if it was Murdoch just unwilling to go out there and do the job. And I don't mean like take the loss. I mean actually get out there and glad hand and get out there and defend the title. But it's hard to say, guys, because we don't know anything, right? This is all speculation. I'm not an insider, and I don't think any of you are either. So we'll see how that comes back and how that works. Sean Mega says, come back home, Thunder Rosa. As much as I love Thunder Rosa, I think she's pretty happy, doing what she's doing in AEW. We'll see how that works. Chris answers, Thunder Rosa is home in the AEW. Michael Manny says it's great to have Murdoch, Knox, and Cardona in the NWA. I really do like Trevor Murdoch, and I wished he had a better run. I don't know what's next for him. I don't know if he's going to stick around. I hope he does, but apparently, it wouldn't shock me if Trevor Murdoch stopped wrestling for the NWA. It's not what I'm rooting for, obviously, but I wouldn't be shocked if he departs from the brand. Lamb says it'll be interesting to see the Mortons and MLW at Superfight. Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? Because with Major League Wrestling, we know that for whatever reason, talents that are working MLW don't stay in the NWA for very long. We know that Slice Boogie, who wasn't really in a big program for the NWA, but was featured quite a bit on their television. Once he started teaming with Danny Limelight and MLW, that was kind of the end of it. We didn't see him return to the NWA. With that being said, Matt Cross, who was with the NWA, ended up signing a contract with MLW and hadn't returned back to the NWA. And he would have been, one of the top prospects for the junior heavyweight tournament. I don't mean prospects in that he's a young up-and-comer. I just mean he had all the potential, all the tools to be the next junior heavyweight champion. If he was still around, he would probably have been my pick. Michael says Pope's speech for Cardona was damn good. Absolutely it was. I mean, and that's the thing. We even said that on Thursday night. That was the best Pope promo since the last Pope promo. And without being too condescending, I don't think anyone on the show is anywhere even in the same universe as the Pope when it comes to cutting these promos. The dude is just so good at it. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. It would be better if there were more guys on the card who could keep up with them. And that's another thing, this Nick Aldis match at Crockett Cup, and we'll get more to that in just a minute. I mean, I think they pulled the trigger way too fast on that. We could have got some leverage mileage out of, Pope and Cardona and Latimer, Cardona, and I mean, there's at least 5 guys on the roster that would make sense, right? But we'll have to see how it all plays out. Terry McDermott's here. Sean says AEW is slowly falling apart. I don't know if I'd say that, man. I mean, look, if I'm only basing this off of rumors, right? The rumors are that Cody wanted more money, and I don't blame him because he's a star. Cody's a legitimate star who built his brand in wrestling. But I mean, besides appearing in movies or TV shows and I guess not movies, but TV shows, he doesn't need AEW to be relevant. He's gotten paid. And if he wanted to stick around, he was asking for a bigger payday. That's what a businessman does. Now, where a lot of people are speculating that Cody's path is to the WWE, I think that's a wasted move, and we'll get to that in a little bit too. I do have some things I want to talk about. Sean says he sees the Pope winning the title soon. I hope you're right. Heeb says, spicy news day. Yeah, man, it's been crazy. Fiona says, so Nick versus Cardona. I'm down for that at the Cup, but man, I so wanted to see the British invasion. I can't see that happening now. I don't think so either, and I think that would have been a better way to go. We'll get to that too. I don't think Cardona was originally the man to take the belt off of Murdoch. I feel Corgan put the title on Cardona to ride his wave and to get more eyes on the NWA. Murdoch deserved a better run. Stanley, I don't disagree with anything you just said. 100% I believe that Murdoch deserved a better run. 100% I don't believe that Cardona was in the original plans. I think they saw the heat he was getting a game changer and the heat he was getting an impact and realized it could be a fit. And I do think that they sorry about that. I do think that they rushed it. But we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. Now let's talk about Cody, right? Because first of all, the world is his oyster. Again, in AEW, he's kind of become more or less a part-time wrestler. And I don't know if that was by his design or their design. Remember, he famously had that match where if he didn't win, he couldn't challenge for the AEW World Championship. So allowing himself to be put on the back burner was good for the company in helping to build new stars. The guy did the job for a lot of people. I mean, we're talking Brody Lee, we're talking Sammy Guevara, Malachi Black. I know there was a bunch of other names that I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm not a super AEW fan by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to respect what Cody did while he was there. Sure, he held that TNT championship, 3 times? But the fact is that he really was putting over younger talent, helping them becoming more relevant, helping them become a bigger deal, right? But in respects to that, like, he kind of sabotaged his own career because now he's nowhere near the top of the title, right, for for AEW. When I look at Cody Rhodes, Cody doesn't really fit in the WWE. If you look at the WWE right now, I mean, he slots under like The Miz, right? I mean, that's the same kind of wrestler he is at this point. Not somebody who's going to get the world title, but certainly does great press releases, is good on the red carpet, does good runway talk, I guess. But The Miz will get his WrestleMania moment. He'll get a match at the Rumble. He'll have some higher profile matches, but I don't think anyone is concerned that The Miz will become the next WWE Universal Champion or the next World's Heavyweight Champion. No, that's not The Miz's role anymore. And you've got a guy like Roman Reigns or Bobby Lashley or to a lesser extent Goldberg or, even Brock Lesnar. These guys are kind of like the top of the roster now. And where does Cody fit into all that? I mean, yeah, the money is going to be awesome. If you get a gig with the WWE, the money is going to be great, especially if you're a top tier talent. But if the goal is to become relevant in pro wrestling, to do something meaningful, you're not going to do it in the WWE. It just isn't going to happen. It's not in the cards, my friend. So that leads me to believe that maybe Cody isn't coming to the WWE. Maybe he is for a one-off for WrestleMania. But I kind of feel like his days in the ring are numbered. And I kind of this is just J. Cow speculation. You can clip this video and throw it in my face later. But I think he's going to take a sabbatical from the ring. There's no rush to go to the WWE. There's no spot for him right now. And if you're going to do something meaningful, go to a place where your presence will drive the brand. If Cody Rhodes showed up on Impact Wrestling, that's going to be a big deal. If him and Brandy show up to challenge Moose for the world title, that's a big deal. If he shows up in Ring of Honor when they come back in April, that's a big deal. If he shows up in MLW and challenges Hammerstone for the title, again, that's a huge deal. Or if he shows up at Crockett Cup and challenges his pal, his buddy, the dude he was in his freaking wedding. I'm talking about if he challenges Matt Cardona for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, that is going to drive business for the NWA. That will launch the NWA into a much further stratosphere than it is right now. And I'm sorry to Trevor Murdoch, but Trevor Murdoch versus Cody doesn't get you there. Cody versus Nick might get you there. Cody versus Cardona definitely gets you there. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, guys. I'm not. I'm saying it would be cool if it did. But I just think that certainly has to be rumored, right? Somebody's got to be thinking that. And now, I don't think Cody comes cheap either. I'm sure if Cody comes, it's going to be for some equity in the company. Maybe Billy's not willing to do that. But if I'm MLW, if I'm Ring of Honor, if I'm Billy, if I'm anybody who is not AEW or the WWE, I think I'm offering Cody equity to come be a part of the company, to be the company. And, we never had that Cody versus Aldis rematch from the 70th anniversary show. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I believe, he has a rematch clause. I mean, that's all world champions are supposed to have that rematch clause. But, yeah, maybe it is me just dreaming, guys, but I still think it would be a lot of fun. Rosville says Murdoch heel change is coming. I believe it, dude. If he stays, he needs just to be the craziest, nastiest, meanest dude on the roster and just beat the living crap out of people. Picture Stan Hansen or Dirty Dick Murdoch. Let's go out there and beat people up and make money and forget the championships, forget the glory, forget the acclaim. Go out there and punch somebody in the nose. That's the Trevor Murdoch I really want to see now. Heap says, I'm more convinced Cody. I don't know what that means, Heaps. Dodie says, today's episodes are full of women's. At some point, it would have made sense if they just did an Empower TV show. I guess NWA USA is their offshoot, but I mean, as much women's wrestling as they have, they could have done that if they wanted. I don't know. Maybe that isn't a good idea, but it could have been. Michael Manning says, wishful thinking about a short NWA run for Cody would be very cool. I think so, too. Chris says he elevated Darby. Another great example, right? Stanley says it sets the precedent where a big name can come over and win the title. I mean, Stanley, let me give you a few facts here. Cody came in and won the title. Nick Aldis came in and won the title. That precedent has been in the NWA, ingrained in the NWA since, Ric Flair. Well, I guess not since Ric Flair, but they did that with Dan the Beast Severn. They did that with Impact Wrestling, right? Like, when Dan Severn became world champion, Chris Candido was your guy. And before Candido, it was Shane Douglas, when they found out that they could get Dan Severn, they not only put the belt on him, they kept that belt on him for damn near 8 years, right? Not 8 years. That's about 6 years, from 94 to the end of 99. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but Chris also pointing out that Cody helped to train Jade and Red Velvet and most of the young kids. Yeah, that the Nightmare Factory. Absolutely. He says he's convinced that Cody's wrapping it up. He said before AEW started, he only wanted to wrestle about 5 more years. Dude has political and acting aspirations. Again, I think that you're onto something. And, let's not forget either, we all look at CM Punk, and he took 7 years off of his career in the middle of his prime. Now, there wasn't a AEW for him to jump to when he left the WWE, but he certainly could have went back to Ring of Honor. He could have went to Impact. He could have went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he opted to stay at home. Stay home. And I've, more than CM Punk, I think that when you look at what Cody's been able to do outside of the wrestling ring, I mean, the fact that he has 2 television shows that he's a part of for Warner Media, the fact that he in the past have been a part of the CW's Arrowverse, I think he could be a guy that doesn't need wrestling at all. And if he chooses to take a year off, or 2 years, or 5 years, or 7 years, he probably could. And when he comes back in 7 years, when he's pushing 42, 43, he's going to come out there and be the exact same guy he was, if he wants. Michael Manning said he thought we'd see more of Juice Robinson, but unfortunately not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Juice has done really anything with the NWA. It'd be fun if he did. I know he did a few matches with the United Wrestling Network. I know he's been a part of New Japan Strong with Finn Juice. No. I'm right. Juice Robinson did do a match with United Wrestling Network, but that'd be fun. Lamb says if he wants to do something meaningful, go to Ring of Honor and rebuild it. Now that might be the thing right there. Terry says Cody's not his father, not even close. In some ways, he might even be better than his father. And I know that's sacrilege, right? But, Dusty did it on the backs of Jim Crockett Promotions and on the backs of some talented people. Dusty had Ric Flair. Dusty had Harley Race. Who does Cody have? Chris, feeding those rumor trolls, those internet trolls. Rumor has it that Cody, Jarrett, and Conrad Thompson might invest in the NWA. Yeah, and I heard Certified Hustler might be the one financing it with them too. I don't think that's gonna happen at all. There's no reason for Billy Corgan to take on investors. Now, bringing Cody in as a partner because he wants to use him in the ring to draw, different story. But bringing him in as purely money, he doesn't need that. I understand giving up equity to get the star, but you don't give up equity just to have more capital. He could raise capital. Hell, he could go on another concert tour. He could do small venues for the next year and make more money for the NWA than he could be running shows for the NWA. So I'm not convinced on that at all. Michael Manning says he loves Austin Idol on commentary. Michael Manning, brother, you're the only one who likes Idol on commentary. Honestly, Idol and Galley was okay. Idol, Galley, and Sky just as a train wreck. So yeah, that was my bit on Cody. Now let's talk about the first match that's been announced for Crockett Cup. Now, I guess this kind of happened simultaneously or all within the same day, because Saturday on NWA USA, we found out who would be competing in the junior heavyweight tourney. We'll get to that momentarily. But this match was made Saturday night, as Nick Aldis, after seeing a man he respected in Trevor Murdoch be bludgeoned in the ring, came out and asserted his opportunity to challenge Cardona for the title. Now, Aldis said that he had a championship contractual obligation, that he would be given a title match when he was ready to take it, and he made sure to do it as soon as he saw Cardona win the title, thus honoring the fact that he would not challenge Trevor Murdoch for the title, but certainly getting back into the title hunt almost instantly. Now, the negative of this, like Fiona pointed out early, is this essentially prevents the British invasion from taking part in the Crockett Cup. Maybe. I don't know how this is all going to work out, because they were the first team formally announced to be in the Crockett Cup, and with all this cashing in, it would lead me to believe that perhaps he's not going to be part of the British invasion. But that doesn't mean that Doug Williams can't find another partner to team with to be a part of that British invasion for the Crockett Cup. And it's odd, because we heard that Aldis was interested in going after the tag titles and going after the Crockett Cup, because he had been the world champion for so long. He was looking at stuff to do. But it just it surprised me that they made that match so quickly. And like I said, I think they could have still gotten more juice out of a Murdoch versus Cardona rematch. But it doesn't look like that's what they're going for. And this isn't specifically saying that Aldis is going to regain the title. I think that would be a huge, huge misstep for the NWA. I think that would be the worst thing they can do, is put the title back on Aldis right out the gate. And if they do that, I'm going to be very disappointed in the NWA. And it's not because I have beef with Aldis, but like, that's the match you build to, guys. That should be the 74th anniversary show, Aldis versus Cardona. Crockett Cup should be the first step in that and building towards that. There's too much money to be made in one throwaway title match. If that's all the juice Cardona has, then I really feel like they wasted it. And I feel like that would be an awful, awful way to build to your 74th anniversary show. So that match is set. And again, what a time to be a fan of the NWA when you've got Cardona, who's basically got the world talking about the NWA, and the man who brought the NWA to where it is to this point. So it should be fun to see. Terry says, I wonder if Conrad will start a promotion one day. I'm sure that the attraction is there, but as many people as he talked to about pro wrestling, he does a show with Jarrett, he does the show with Bischoff, he did the show with a couple of the other guys whose names I can't think of right now. You would think there'd be enough people telling them, hey, this is a dumb idea. Someone told me, like, you want to know how to make $10 million in pro wrestling? Start with 20. He says, those are fighting words, Mr. Manning, with regards to Idol Sports Management. Devin, welcome back, Devin. Says, Idol on commentary isn't great, but Idol Mania Sports Management is the greatest. DKM. They wanted to know how you're feeling about Cardona winning the title. But he says Idol sucks even with Galley. Devin says, hate that we know who won before being able to watch the Power Trip show. Literally pissed me off that they posted the results. Oh, I should post that. See, Devin, I feel you on this, right? Because I like to watch stuff unspoiled too. It was really hard for me, to avoid Spider-Man spoiler alerts, Star Wars. I was watching one of the Star Wars movies. I guess it was the first one of the new prequels. I can't even remember what it was called. And people spoiled it for me the day that I was going to go see it. And it ruined the movie for me. And I didn't get to enjoy it the way I wanted to because the biggest part of the movie was destroyed. And I still hold a grudge against the person that did that to me and immediately deleted them off of Facebook. It ruins it. So I hear where that sucks, that it did get spoiled. But in that regards, it's the biggest news within the NWA. And although it is a TV show, it's also a wrestling promotion. And if they sat on that for 2 weeks, first of all, what the heck is what is Mr. Cardona even going to tweet about? And the fact that that title has been featured in every tweet he's made. It was at the Eiffel Tower. It was at Disneyland in Paris. I mean, he's doing everything he can to get notoriety for the title. In which case, I have to celebrate that. I just think it's a smart move. Terry says Nick Aldis probably will be standing champion for the NWA for the next few years, like Race and Flair. I kind of hope not. Like, I don't mind. Calm down, Jay. You don't need to yell. I don't mind Aldis having another run with the belt. In fact, I don't mind if he has another 2 or 3 runs, but I don't want him to be the go-to guy, right? Like, he made his mark in the NWA. If he never wins that title again, he'll still be in the NWA Hall of Fame. Like, the guy did so much for the brand. You cannot convince me that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, if they even still do that. But the caveat is he doesn't need to do it anymore. And you're never going to develop future stars if you keep going back to the same guys that brought you to the show. The Pope is sitting there. The Pope is sitting there with so much charisma, so much ability. Like, his in-ring is fine. He's not going to give you 5-star Meltzer matches, but I would say his in-ring is on par with Nick Aldis, and his promos are probably better. And we haven't had a Black World's Heavyweight Champion since Ron Killing in 2002. That's 20 years ago. I'm not saying you give a man a title based on his race, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have another Black World's Heavyweight Champion. At least as far as I'm concerned. Devin says Dusty and Magnum TA were originally going to be in the 86 and seeded number 2. Okay. I mean, yeah, things could change. You're right, DK. Things can definitely change. Roswell agrees with me. Build it up. Devin says Mike Knox should have interfered or caused a DQ, then a stipulation rematch, Cardona versus Murdoch for the title. It was easy booking. I agree with you. I do. I think they struck while the iron was hot because everyone's talking about Cardona, what he did in Game Changer Wrestling, what he's doing in Impact. The man has held now three belts. So I really feel like that was the right time. I think he's the right guy. I just wish they could have stretched it out somehow. Lamb says, The Force Awakens. Thank you, Lamb. Lamb is my guy. Much love for Lamb. DKM with the slow burn for the Alliance Guys podcast. To find out on DKM's thoughts on Cardona winning, tune in Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Devin says he loves the publicity he's giving the NWA, but why not just put the show on pay-per-view or fight? I agree with that too. Like, I would have paid $10 to watch that show. It was a pretty decently booked show, and it was more than just the title match on there. I mean, you had the I Quit match. You had Taryn Terrell challenging Camille. You had, I know Kylie Ray was injured, but you had on paper Kylie Ray versus Chelsea Green. You had Rhett freaking Titus versus Colby Corino. Remember, Rhett Titus is still your Ring of Honor TV champion. I mean, he's no slouch either. Bobby Batista says he'd like to see Matt Cardona defend the championship at Warrior Wrestling. Yeah, man, if the schedule permits, sure. Terry McDermott agrees with me now. The Pope would be a good world champion. All right, Terry. That's what I'm talking about. Chris says it's hard to build. Is it so hard to build up Crimson as a legit contender for the NWA title? Well, first of all, you need to call him by his new name, and that's Anthony Mayweather, because he doesn't go by Crimson anymore. Secondly, he did just win the national championship, and that's something that got kind of, not forgotten about, but ignored because of how important it was that Cardona won the title. We're spending all this time talking about that, but let's not forget, guys, we have a new national champion. At POWERRR TRIP, Mayweather got golden, and it's his first NWA title since the Lightning One era. And, when all of us thought perhaps he would have been a tag team champion with Mr. Jax Dane, no, he got the national championship. Now, on paper, and Aldis has said this in the past, Adonis has referenced this in the past as well, that if you are the national champion by your birthright, title right, not really birthright, but by right of being champion, you're supposed to be the number one contender for the 10 pounds of gold. So if anyone in the NWA right now should be getting a match at Matt Cardona, it literally should be Anthony Mayweather. He did it. He won the title. He could do what Chris Adonis was unwilling to do, and that's challenge for the worlds. I mean, I know it's a convoluted storyline, and they probably won't do it, but that's what I would do. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And I think that knowing now that Mayweather is champion will probably add another ripple to the effect of Crockett Cup. And, I mean, we all know that Strictly Business is now, Camille is the only champion in Strictly Business, but let's not forget that Tom Latimer of Strictly Business has participated in a Crockett Cup before. In fact, he and Royce Isaacs were part of I forget what they were called, the Wild Card. They were part of the Wild Card Battle Royal, that they were the last standing tag team in that Battle Royal, gave them the right to join the tournament, and ended up only to lose to Villains Enterprise in the finals of that tournament before regaining the titles ahead of the NWA's debut on YouTube with NWA Power. So it wouldn't be out of this world if a former world tag team champion teaming with a former two-time national champion got into the wild card or just got in as Strictly Business at the Crockett Cup and won the whole thing and challenged for those tag titles. That might be a thing. So, and Devin, I'm so sorry, man. Sorry, Devin. It was all over Twitter. I saw it. Heeb says, how active is Mayweather in the Tennessee area? Maybe we get some defenses outside the NWA. Well, I mean, if we could pull back the black curtain a little bit, Tried and True Pro Wrestling is Mayweather. That's his promotion. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him defend that title there in Tried and True. I don't know where else he could go, but what I do is I look at where Camille is wrestling, right? And she's literally wrestling in Texas. She's literally wrestling in Tennessee. She's literally wrestling in Florida. She's going all over. She's going to be in Georgia at the end of the month. If Camille can do that with the Women's World Heavyweight Champion, not heavyweight, Women's World Championship, then why can't any one of these guys? I guess the demand has to be there, but as somebody like Anthony Mayweather, I mean, the guy has a great look. He's good in the ring, cuts a decent promo. Why wouldn't you book that guy? Bobby Batista says Aldis defended the NWA Championship against Sam Adonis for Warrior Wrestling. I don't believe it wouldn't happen, especially Cardona. He's going to work anywhere that someone's going to pay him. And wrestling with the MMA does like the name Wildcard. Yeah, I mean, they were a great tag team. I know that Royce Isaacs had to go, and he's having a lot of success now on the independents, teaming with his original partner. As they used to be the 1%. Now I think they're West Coast Wrecking Crew or Wrestling Crew or something like that. Don't come after me, Lamb. But they're currently working New Japan Strong, Defy Pro Wrestling, and all points in between from Southern California to the Northwest. not the Northeast. So let's get to more of what's happening tonight now that we've got 20 minutes left of the show. Oh, well, first we got to talk about this, right? So this weekend, the finals were set for the junior heavyweight tournament. We know that this match will take place on Sunday, March 20th at the Crockett Cup. That means that we're going to see Austin Aries, Colby Corino, Darius Lockhart, and Homicide all battle to get to that junior heavyweight championship. Just looking at the bracketology here, Homicide hasn't had to have a junior heavyweight title or a junior heavyweight qualifying match since Hard Times 2. Austin Aries, on the other hand, wrestled at Hard Times 2 and then had to defeat Luke Hawx and just defeat Luke Hawx. I spoke ahead of myself. Colby Corino had to go through the whole system. Darius Lockhart had to go through the whole system. So, I mean, that whoever walks away on March 20th as your world's junior heavyweight champion will have earned that for certain. But it's real incredible to me that we're talking about 2 matches already announced for the Crockett Cup with not even all the tag teams announced yet. You do want to get your tickets, NWATix.com. I need to get mine. I'm going to be in Nashville. I know my pal Fiona is going to be in Nashville. Are you going to be in Nashville? Because if you are, maybe we'll do a get-together. If anyone's down for that, private message me on whatever. I'm on the socials at the Alliance blog. You guys know where I'm at. But if you don't, check it out. We're at the Alliance blog on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere. So check us out. Terry McDermott said he is for Homicide. And, Homicide isn't a bad choice. He's not. Dave Scooby, I will see you there. We got to grab at least a beer or a sandwich or something. Bobby Petito says Darius Lockhart. Ooh, that's like the dark horse because not a lot of people are looking at Darius Lockhart as a potential winner. I mean, Colby Corino seems to be a lot of the fan favorites with the NWA. My personal favorite is Austin Aries because he's such a decorated champion. He's held many junior heavyweight championships, but many world championships. And of course, I mean, Homicide, very similar to Austin Aries, has held a lot of championships across the world. So really, it's anybody's game. Excuse me. So we have some matches for tonight's Power, and this is like one of the most action-packed episodes of Power I've seen in some time. Now, if you guys are expecting some continuity between Power Trip and tonight's episode, they'll probably reference Cardona's victory. They'll probably show his victory speech, but don't expect him to come to the ring with the title, and don't expect to see Adonis without the national title. But we do have more of the tag team war as Strictly Business with El Rudo take on the End and Rodney Mack. Still the weirdest pairing. It was supposed to be the End with Jack Stane, if you guys remember. But Rodney Mack punched him so hard that he just assumed that position on the team with the End. The winners of this match will win $30,000. Now, I don't know if that is for all 3 men that they each win $30,000 or if each one wins $10,000. And then you start feeling like that prize kind of diminishes the more you think about it. If each man only gets $10,000, I mean, look, I'm not going to shy away from $10,000. If anyone wants to give me $10,000, I'll gladly take it. But it doesn't quite carry the same weight as if each man got $30,000. Also tonight in action, I don't have the banner for most of these, so you'll have to just bear with me here. But we've got Victor Benjamin against your NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Matt Cardona. Now, obviously, this match was taped back in February, and this was really his only second televised match for the NWA at this point. Now, the interesting thing is, and I guess I mistakenly said that he had only wrestled 1 NWA match before becoming World's Heavyweight Champion. But no, he technically had 2. He did wrestle Victor Benjamin. Now, if you guys aren't too familiar with Victor Benjamin, he has been a part of the show a couple times. He's teamed with the OKG a couple of times and was part of the junior heavyweight scramble. I really like this guy, Victor Benjamin. I don't know how long he is for the NWA, but if there's a way to get that guy involved and keep him around, much like Lady Frost, his wife, they're so polished. They look so good in the ring. I hope they keep him around. He's a solid athlete. Other matches for the night, we're going to have Jennacide versus Natalia Markova with Russia from Love. Well, I think I messed that up. Anyways, Jennacide famously said a few weeks ago that she couldn't wait to get her hands on Natalia Markova, that she was going to really show her what it was all about. I think this is great. Women's wrestling in the NWA is treated on equal footing as the men's wrestling. I think this is going to be a very, very fun match to watch. I think these kind of matches are always good. Other matches that are scheduled to be on the show tonight, the British Invasion will take on Jaden Roller and Jake Fable. Again, I'm not a big fan of either one of those guys. They work enhancement, but it's good to see it. And again, it kind of makes me feel like plans were changed quite significantly at POWERRR TRIP, because I believe the plan was to do something more with the British Invasion. Also, we'll get Melina. Melina will be back, and she'll be taking on Christi Jaynes. And Christi Jaynes, I'll be honest, she's one of my favorites. I've seen her wrestle a handful of times here in Southern California. She's a great talent. I'm happy that she's part of the NWA. I wish she had a more active role on the roster. The last time we saw Melina, she was at the Royal Rumble. So it's nice to see her return to the NWA, although that was all taped prior to the Rumble. And then also Marti Belle versus Tootie Lynn, which could potentially be setting up another tag team match, women's championship match for the Crockett Cup. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of wrestling tonight, and I think that's a great thing for the fans. Hopefully it will be a very heavy show focusing on the wrestling, and we don't need a lot of promos, in my opinion. Dave Scooby says, I hope they crown the junior heavyweight on Saturday, then have the first defense on Sunday. Dave, that would have been the smart play, especially if they're having the world title match on Sunday. Then that would be an extra attraction, could even potentially main event the show, because if you're not going to crown the tag team champions, if you're not going to crown a Crockett Cup winner on Saturday night, you kind of need something to draw on Saturday night. So maybe the junior heavyweight champions, maybe the women's title match. Who knows? Bobby's excited about Christi Jaynes too. Sean Mega says NWA USA is so much better. Yeah, I have enjoyed NWA USA. I think the show itself is really finding its own niche. The TV tapings are scheduled to take place after the pay-per-view this time. So we're going to, the Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday following the pay-per-view on Sunday night will be the TV tapings. I won't be in town for those, so I won't be able to give you any kind of spoilers or anything, but we'll see how it goes. Dodie says Victor Benjamin is better in USA than Power. I mean, I can't argue with you, right? I enjoy him. I think more of him would be a good thing. Terry McDermott agrees with me. I think Devin does too. Michael Manning says USA has been up there with Power for me. I really feel that sometimes USA is better. I know the format is only 30 minutes, so that's cool, but sometimes I feel like it's just better. John Farmer echoing what I just said. Power and NWA USA tapings are at Skyway Studios in Nashville Monday through Wednesday after the Crockett Cup, and those tickets are available now at nwatix.com. Make sure you if you're in the area, if you're already coming to Crockett Cup and you don't have a problem staying a few extra days, you go down to Broadway, you go to Jason Aldean's bar, you listen to some live music, you have a few daddy sodas, and then you go down to the wrestling show. It sounds like a wonderful weekend to me. Dodie says, no, I don't want Matt's first defense to be on the Crockett Cup. Sorry, Dodie, it's already been announced. Bobby Bettino says he'd like to see Chalance Royal wrestle in the NWA. Well, Chalance has been if you guys have checked out the events, she's going to be the opponent for Camille at the February 27th show in Warner's Robins, Georgia. Of course, if you guys don't know much about Shalon, she's wrestled on AEW Dark. She's wrestled in Ohio Valley. She's also kind of been in the same circles as Camille over in the CCW in Tennessee. She's been in a couple other promotions out there in the Southeast, in the South. She gives up a whole foot to Camille, right? Like she's smaller. She doesn't have the power. So, I mean, hopefully she makes it up in speed. And really the winners of that match will be the folks in Warner's Robin, Georgia, because let's face it, Camille is a brick house. She is not going to lose that title anytime soon. It's going to be her 12th defense. Only good things for Camille. Terry McDermott says the NWA USA is the best wrestling show on planet Earth. You got to watch out for that Neptune Pro Wrestling, though. I mean, they've got some up-and-comers. Sorry, Terry, I just thought that was silly for me to say. Stanley says, I would have stretched the Aldis Cardona story a couple more weeks. See, I think I would have, too. I don't think I would have put this match at the Crockett Cup. I do believe you're going to have Cardona defend the title at Crockett Cup. Hell, I would have him defend both nights of the Crockett Cup. But I would not have put that match, Aldis versus Cardona, at Crockett Cup. I saved it for the 74th, maybe even hard times 3. Because depending on how long Cardona can give of his time to the NWA, you want to milk that. I know a lot of people don't like Matt Cardona, and that's cool. You don't have to like him, but a lot of other people do. And the more eyeballs that are in the NWA, the more tickets that they sell, the more T-shirts that they sell, the more pay-per-view buy rates they get, the more they can invest in their infrastructure, the more they can do bigger shows and tour more shows and tape more shows, the more content we get as fans. It's a win all the way around. And unfortunately, Trevor Murdoch didn't get the opportunity to be that guy. Fiona's excited. Fiona and I'm going to give her the biggest high five that I can give her. Fiona is one of the coolest folks that I've met online. Haven't met, but we will. I'm going to meet Fiona. I'm going to meet some of you other guys too. Dave Scooby, we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it in the weeks to come. Maybe we'll meet up at a bar before Saturday night. I'm going to have my daughter, so I guess it can't be a bar, but maybe a restaurant. We'll figure it out. But I hope to see all of you there. And if I don't see you before the show, I definitely want to see you there when we're all there together. And if you're afraid to say hi, please don't be. This hat, I will be wearing this hat. I guarantee it. Not sure what shirt I'll be wearing yet. Willie Bowen's in the house, folks. What's up, Willie? You got in just right before the end of the show. Devin says he went to Nashville in 2018 for the NFL draft, got extremely drunk, missed an entire Brantley Gilbert concert after the 7th round. But he definitely recommends hanging downtown. I was in Broadway. In fact, Stanley and I met on Broadway back in 2018 for the 70th anniversary show. And that's actually, that's where I met a lot of great people. Stanley, Big Al, who doesn't really come into this chat. Larry, who doesn't come into this chat. Who else? Who else was there? I'm forgetting the Dawn of Wrestling, my good friend Dawn. Hopefully she'll be there. And hopefully we can all just meet and do, they called it the meet and drink. Another NWA podcaster who no longer podcasts about the NWA. He called it the meet and drink. I think we can do better, but hopefully we can all meet up right before the pay-per-view. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And Devin, I wish you could too, man. But hey, look, there's always next year. The thing is, I feel like with the pandemic slowly kind of fading into obscurity, it's not gone. It's not gone, but it's going away. When it's finally gone, we can go back to the good old days of, sharing a beer and talking about wrestling and all that fun stuff. And if you don't drink alcohol, that's fine. You can have a pop. You can have a water. I don't judge. I might not even drink. I have a daughter with me. I probably won't even drink. Willie's excited because the Rams are Super Bowl champions. Man, that is, as someone who grew up watching the Rams, I'm very excited. But I'll be honest, I haven't been a football fan in about 15 years, 20 years. Just not for me. I'm a baseball guy. I love baseball, but football, not so much. Well, guys, I'm excited about Nashville. I'm excited about March 19th and March 20th. The Crockett Cup it's coming. We've got matches already announced. We're heading towards the Crockett Cup. No more stops in between. Tonight we get Tag Team War. And then it's hopefully, I think next week we'll probably get the beginning of POWERRR Trip as it leads up to the Crockett Cup. But if you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. We will be here Thursday night to recap what's happening on POWERRR. And if you can't make it live, that's okay. You can even watch us after it airs on YouTube. You can watch the recap show on Friday. No harm in that. But we like having you guys here live in the chat to talk wrestling, talk NWA. Until next time, my friends, I do enjoy this so much. You guys, you don't understand how much fun this is to do every Tuesday with you guys. But until next time, I'll see you at the matches March 19th, March 20th, NWATix.com. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA POWERRR every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.